Hello, everybody. Hello, leaders on our team. I'm really excited about this call. It's probably one I should have done a long time ago, but at the same time, I really needed to process this information and collect it to give to you. So those of you on the call already know that what we're talking about is becoming a coach. Rather than just a cheerleader and rather than just a mentor, we're understanding the role that we have with our teammates. And what I'm hoping is that it's going to completely change and empower the direction of your team and the momentum of your business, and hopefully be a light bulb moment for you. So just some quick background. I went to Jules training in April. Not quite sure what I was going to get out of that, but this was the biggest thing I got out of the entire 4 days. Real quick, before I launch into the specifics of coaching, I do want to say that your role as the leader of your team, whether you've got, and you know what, I'm not hearing much background noise, but if I do, I'll just mute everybody. Your role as the leader of your team, whether you have one business builder or whether you have 1,000 business builders on your team, your role, numero uno, is to be an example to those people in personal activity. So don't take anything I tell you tonight as permission to go into management mode, because that's not what I'm saying. You still need to be doing your IPAs every day. You still have to be reaching out. You need to have a goal to go silver again every month. You need to be engaging and training and helping those people get started. So be doing all of that. But what I'm seeing on our team is a lot of people who want to lead and who want to be a good sponsor for their teammates, and maybe aren't quite sure how to do that, or they're a little bit afraid to do that. And I'll get into that a little bit more. Basically, the fear part comes in, I think, if you've got somebody on your team who wants to work the business and they come to you and say, Jana, these are my goals for this month. I want to recruit 3 people. I want to go silver again. I want to host my first event, and I want to be emerald next year. Okay, that's just an example. Let's say someone sends you their goals. What I see so often is the sponsor responds and says, okay, you can do that. Let me know how I can support you. I totally believe in you. And we're being that cheerleader. And I think we need to be much more intentional with our feedback. So that's one example. Let's say somebody emails you their goals. Now, one thing I want to say is I hope that you as leaders at the beginning of every new month are taking responsibility to reach out to people, to your level ones, and get that goals conversation started. Because how else are you going to know what their goals are if you're not getting that conversation started? Another thing I'm seeing is we've got a lot of people that join our team and they go ahead and they get into a 20-day challenge. And that's another area where I see sponsors just totally falling down in a huge area of potential. Because in that 20-day challenge, you're going to see your people sharing their goals. You're going to see them sharing their why. You're going to see them sharing their fears. You're going to see them giving feedback about how it's going when they reach out to people. And it's an opportunity in so many areas. So if you have a level 1 doing a 20-day challenge and you are not in that group, checking that group every single night to see what they say in response to those challenges, you're missing a gigantic opportunity to coach them, because they're handing you on a platter, here's my why, here are my goals. And I see either people not really engaging and responding when their teammates are doing that, or I see the cheerleader thing. Okay, you've got this. You can do it. Let me know how I can help. So I will say, just in those 2 instances, whether they're emailing you their goals or whether maybe they're joining a challenge group and keeping up with that, your role as their sponsor is huge. And what I mean by that is intentional feedback, not just cheering them on. So, you know, and basically, I think we all know, but I mean, basically what that looks like is, okay, maybe they tell you they want to go silver again and recruit 3 people this month. The conversation has to progress to, okay, let's break it down. What are you going to do on the first day? What are your action steps going to be every day this week? How much time do you have to spend? Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be 20 minutes? If it's 20 minutes, let's figure out what the top priority is. You know, like if you've got someone who really wants to build the business, but they've got 30 minutes a day, okay, then you need to help them determine what their top priorities are during those 30 minutes, because it doesn't need to be get on and scroll Facebook for 25 and then, what do I do for the last 5 minutes? But I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go by my notes and then we'll address some questions. Okay. So a big aha moment for me at Jules training was, I am a leader on our team, yes, but my responsibility is to my level ones. I am more than just their leader. I am their sponsor. And people deeper than that have their own sponsor. And that person has a huge responsibility to those people. I think in the beginning of my business, I was looking at anybody who looked like they wanted this, and I was treating them like they were my level one. And because I was doing that, I was neglecting to pour into some of my level ones who wanted the business and needed coaching. But because I wasn't seeing just this huge explosion of activity from them, I was just kind of jumping over them and saying, well, I'll just coach your person or their person, 4-5 levels down from me. So one of the biggest aha moments for me coming home from Jules training was to sit down and look at my level ones, to write down the names of people that were proving to me that they wanted this business. I got a question on our thread earlier about what do you do when you get excuses? What do you do when you get pushback from the people you're trying to coach? It's identifying the people on your team who want, need, and deserve coaching. It's not all based on what they tell you. It's based on what they show you. So I came home from Jules training and I looked at my list of level ones, and I do include some level twos in that if they're my spouse's ambassador. So that's one exception. But writing their names down, because they have shown me I'm willing to post, I'm willing to ask for feedback, I can handle constructive criticism. I have fears, but I'll talk about them and I'll face them if you can help me work through it. I value, people that were showing me they value my time.
I give my opinion and show back in the written.
I'll just meet
No, it's okay. I was just trying to figure out what you're. Couldn't hear you. She whips you.
It's the lady whose husband had an emotional affair with her 19-year. It's the 19-year.
Here we go. Okay, got it. Totally lost my train of thought just now. Oh yeah. So identifying people in my level one who not just told me that they wanted this business, but were proving to me that they wanted it by the way that they valued my input, my time, and we're putting effort forth. Now, that doesn't mean they have to be perfect, but you need to be able to see that. So I was worried. I came up from Jules training worried that I didn't have time to pour this much specific effort and coaching into people on my team. I kind of had always grown our team by posting on our team page and doing things on a large scale. I hadn't done a ton of one-on-one with people, but I think for each of you, what will be helpful is to look at your level ones and realize it's not going to be a huge number of people who are showing you they mean business like that. It's going to probably be 20% of your level ones or less that you see as ready and willing to put that kind of work in. So that's the first thing I want to encourage you to do is I'm not telling you to pour a bunch of coaching time and effort into people who are giving you excuse after excuse and you're not really seeing the effort yet. I'm saying write down the names of people in your level one who you think really truly want it and are showing you that, and have that piece of paper next to your desk because that gives me so much direction. Every day when I sit down to the computer and I see something that maybe it's a training video that I'm like, wow, that training video is awesome. I can look at my list and be like, okay, yes, those are the 8 people who need to watch that because they've shown me they're really working at this business. And I don't have to go to my report, pull it up and be like, oh, they might watch it. Yeah, they might watch it. That's just, it's a waste of my time. So having that list of people and putting it by your desk. Okay. As a sponsor, I've got I don't have everyone muted, but okay. Okay. As a sponsor, sorry, y'all, this is like driving me bonkers. That did it. Okay, good. I want you to understand that there are lots of great leaders on our team, and there are lots of great leaders in Flexus. So I'm not saying, I really want you to totally maximize every resource out there that comes from another leader. If Tamara's doing team calls every Sunday and they rock, share the team calls. And don't feel like you have to, I've got to do a team call every Sunday. That's what a good leader does. If Tamara's team call rocks, get your team listening to those team calls. If, Jessica is leading an awesome online event this month, tell your people about it and invite your prospects to it. Use what the other leaders are doing. But here's what no other leader can do for you. No other leader on our team can be the sponsor for your level ones. No other leader on our team is going to connect with your level ones every month or every week and break down their goals with them, break them into action steps, and then keep them accountable and follow up. So your role as a sponsor is hugely important. It is, no matter how many awesome leaders are on your team, use what they're doing. It's awesome. But you are so important because you are the person who is going to be talking to your level ones on a regular basis to help them set realistic goals, help them make those goals manageable, and then help go over those goals after the fact. And this is where a lot of the fear comes in, is we're afraid that if somebody shares their goals with us and we come back at the end of the month and go, well, you didn't go silver like you thought. So, and we're afraid that that's somehow going to be rubbing their face in their failure or just whatever. We don't want to do that. So we have to learn how to do that better, because part of our role that they have asked us to help them with is they have asked us to help them grow their business. And if we're too afraid to hurt feelings and we can't give feedback, then we're totally crippled. So part of it I mentioned in that post is you have to learn how to have language that helps give feedback without blame. So you can, one phrase that's really helpful is the phrase, help me understand, or tell me more about. And so you talk to, maybe you've got 4 people in your level 1 who want the business, and you're really working with them as their sponsor. And they share their goals with you and they say, okay, this is what I want to do this week. And this is what I'm going to do every day this week to help reach that goal. Okay. Then at the end of the week, you touch base with that person and you say, hey, what do you think went wrong? Help me understand. Okay. It's as simple as that. You cannot shy away from keeping up with them and keep helping be that accountability. It can't be about you're so afraid to do that. Another phrase that's really good is, if I could see something that was holding you back in your business, would you want me to tell you what it was? And just getting that permission is so huge. Okay. Let's see. Okay, and I told you the thing about how this isn't going to be every person on your team. This is going to be the people in your first level who you identify as wanting the business, and you're going to help them get there. So write their names down, and then I think I'm going to open it up to some of the questions. So I'm going to, is there an quicker unmute? I don't know if there is.
There's an unmute all.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm already halfway through, so I'm going to unmute. Okay.
Would it be better if we just unmuted ourselves? Because it sounds like some people have their TVs on and stuff.
True. If you have background music or background noise and you want to stay muted, go ahead and mute yourself. And what I'm going to do is go to our Facebook thread and look at some of the questions that were asked. A big question I had when they were presenting this material to us at Jules training was, I really felt like I didn't have time to coach people one-on-one because I thought, okay, that'll put me on a phone call 4 times a week. It'll probably end up taking an hour because, you know, people are struggling in their business. There's a lot to talk about. There's oftentimes a lot to complain about. And before you know it, you've been on the phone for an hour. And so I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. So what you really have to establish, and this is the thing about coaching is, you're going to approach these people on your team and you're going to say, I would like to do a much better job as your sponsor of coaching you to where you want to be in this business. And establish some expectations. So say, let's try 6 weeks talking on the phone once a week for 30 minutes. You don't have to say that this is an ongoing, never-ending thing. Hopefully at the end of 6 weeks or 8 weeks, they've learned a system and don't need necessarily to talk to you every week. That's kind of the goal behind it. So the first thing about it is it doesn't have to be forever. And then the second thing is you approach these teammates and say, I have identified you as somebody who obviously wants this. And so I want to pour more effort into you. And then you establish those expectations and you say, let's, you know, whether it's going to be over email, whether it's going to be a Zoom, whether it's going to be over the phone, establish what that's going to be and then say, we really need it to be 30 minutes because we've got lives to live. We've got families that are priority. And if at any point in the conversation I feel like we're getting derailed, if it's okay with you, I'm going to refocus us back to the business discussion. I still want us to catch up as friends throughout the week, and I fully expect that we will, but I just want it to be understood that this is our coaching time, and if at any point I see it kind of getting off track or I see it start to go in circles and we're not being productive, I'm going to redirect us back to finding a way to move forward. And so you just talk about that at the front end and say, it's totally not, you know, it's not ever, I don't ever want you to feel like, I don't have time for you as a friend. I just want it to be fully understood that our coaching times are specifically about me helping you with your business. So that's still kind of hard, but that's what they told me at Jules training is, you know, make time for the friendship, but also just really define that the coaching time is specifically to talk about their business. Okay, let's see. That was what Melissa asked, I think. Let's see. Megan says, are you scheduling coaching calls weekly? Are you reaching out to those who are showing that they are ready or those you see great potential in? How do you recognize those who just want a cheerleader and those who are desperate for a coach? We know whose phone that is. I don't know who to mute that.
It keeps flipping to, I think it's Ashley on Lorelai's name.
Okay.
Like she's the one that pops up as the person
Okay.
talking.
So that's probably who it is for whatever reason. So I'll do that real quick. Okay. Yeah, that was it. So that question was on how you're identifying. So first of all, I just want to encourage all of us to take a step back and focus on our level ones. And if we're doing that, then we're going to see it fit the way it should. And really obvious, I mean, it's fairly obvious when you understand that it's not going to be 30 people. Okay. I have 1,600 plus people on my team, and the list sitting here by my desk is 20 people who I feel like on a daily basis are showing me that they want this business and they're in my level one. And then I've got, as far as lists go, I also want to encourage you guys to have a list of anybody you're currently talking to who's considering buying or joining. That was just kind of a light bulb for me, but I've been doing it the last month or two. And so every day, if I get on and my inbox is full, I'm going to be able to search for the people that I'm currently talking to about buying or joining so that I always have them in my mind. So those lists are just lifesavers. But anyway, I don't know if I answered that question. Oh yeah. So Megan says, are you scheduling coaching calls weekly? I wouldn't say that I have done maybe the most ideal job of that. What I've tried to do is just be much more intentional about a weekly and a monthly point of contact with these people that are sending me their goals regularly and showing me that they want this, helping them break them down into action steps, talking with them on the back end about maybe what went well or what didn't go well, and then what can we tweak. So please do reference the questions in the thread on the Climbing the Ladder page where I talk about like the right types of questions to ask as far as being a better coach. So I think one of the biggest things we struggle with is we either want to just give them advice on how to fix it, or we want to just cheer them on and be like, you can do it. And what we really need to be doing is asking questions that help them become a problem solver. So some of the questions in this thread that I mentioned are, they tell you a goal and you say, okay, how will you know if you're succeeding? What are some milestones along the way that you can be looking for to help you break down a goal? And then we just need to go back and read the questions. I didn't see any other questions on our thread. Melissa said, what do you do when you get pushback and excuses, and how do you really separate that personal friendship from the business one? So I just want to make sure we understand that it's not saying that it can't be a friendship and a business relationship. It's just saying you have to set up some expectations on the front end that I want us to have some time, regular time, that we really work on your business because I can see that you really want it. And it doesn't mean I don't want to focus on our friendship. It just means that has to happen outside of our coaching time. And then as far as the pushback and excuses, no one's perfect. Everybody is going to have a week where they go, yeah, I know I said I was going to do that. Oh, sorry, Jana. Okay, I'll see yours. Someone's going to have a week where they say, yeah, I said I was going to do that and I didn't do it. And so that's okay. It's not like you're okay, I guess I'm not going to coach you anymore. You're giving me excuses. But you do say, okay, well, you ask a question. What do you think you can change about this week to eliminate that obstacle for yourself? Or why do you think you allowed that excuse to be okay this time? And here, let's say, okay, this next week you have a goal to do this. Can you see anything that might prevent you from doing that? Can we identify that ahead of time so that maybe we can avoid that? So you're asking those kind of questions to work around some of those excuses. And then again, using that language like, hey, help me understand why this happened. Or could you tell me more about why that happened? And that non-judgmental language. Okay, Jana, what's your question?
All right, I have a few questions. I've been writing them down as you've been talking. Okay, so let's say that you're asking all these questions. Okay, so for me, it has taken me a long time to figure out how to decipher my feelings and decipher what is going on, what are my struggles, how do I feel about them, how could I overcome them? Because really, I think it's a thing that you have to practice frequently to get good at it. And so when people don't practice talking about what do I feel like, it's bothering me, whatever, I feel like it is hard to get that out of people. So let's say you say, can you help me understand what's bothering, why are you stuck? Why is your team not growing? And they say, well, it's probably me. And then you say, okay, well, what is one thing that you can do this week to change that? Well, I don't know. Because maybe they haven't had the experience of, maybe it's just my team, I don't know. But maybe when someone says, well, I don't know, I feel kind of like, okay,
yeah,
where do I go here? Is it appropriate for me then to help the people on their team who are wanting to work the business? Is that ever appropriate to coach their level 2 or 3 if those people are hungry and their level 1 is stuck trying to figure out how to get unstuck? That's my first question.
I would say you don't ever jump over your level 1 to someone levels deeper. Now you might say, with your permission, I would like to reach out to so-and-so and offer them some additional help because I think that they are really crying out for it. And then you do the same thing with that person. With your permission, I would like to help you more, but I would like to include your sponsor in all of our communications. We've got 10 minutes. With your permission, I would like to give you some additional coaching, but I would like to include your sponsor in all of our communications because, they're your number one go-to. I'm really here to coach them. So for a time, and you again define the timing, but you say for a time, I think it would be really helpful for us to dig a little deeper, but, get permission from both of those people and include both of those people in all of those communications because we have to set that precedent that I am not the go-to person for every person on this team. I've had level 5s message me and be like, I heard you were the go-to person and I had a question about compliance. And I'm like, this is a bad precedent that I have obviously allowed to be set. And so, not leaping over. And then somebody who can't articulate, you have to just break the questions down way further. So somebody, if you say, why are you stuck? Why is your team not growing? Well, it's probably me. And then you say, well, what's one thing you can do this week? You can't skip all the way to what's the way forward. You have to say, you have to ask something like, if you had to tell me one thing that you think you are failing at, what would it be? Maybe not failing at, but what's the one income producing activity you hate to do most or you put off every day? Or I said it to Tamara recently. I said, oh my gosh, I just feel like our team is just stuck in the same place. I don't know why we're not growing right now. And I said, I'm sure it's a lot of factors, but I'm sure it somewhere has to trace back to me and my leadership. And her question was, well, if you had to say one thing that you thought you could be doing better, what would that one thing be? And I said, well, I really have not been wanting to get on the phone with new people. I know that you say that we should be getting on the phone with all of our new business builders, but that's kind of that one thing that I'm like, oh, maybe I can get around that. You just have to really ask them to look and maybe not say like, tell me where you're stuck, but okay, tell me something that you could be doing that you don't like to do, or you don't want to do. And people who aren't good at identifying their feelings. Okay, so if they're saying my struggle this week is every time I reach out to somebody, I don't hear back, and I'm just tired of it. I'm ready to give up. Then you have to kind of be the counselor a little bit. Okay, well, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
What does it trigger inside of you when you get ignored? I don't know.
No, you did that to me.
Huh?
You did that to me because I was that person that was like, I'm so tired of this. It's so annoying. And it turns out it bothers me because it makes me feel like those people don't even value me as a person to respond to me. So that bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if this is me again, just my team, but it's like pulling teeth trying to get them to send their goals to me. I just want them to send their goals to me. I ask them, they don't. Even my people who are like, I'm wanting this, let's go, they don't send their goals. And if they do, which by the time I'm done pulling their teeth, it's like, I want to go silver again, and I want to get 5 people on my team. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the language. Sometimes it's that it feels like a homework assignment when you're saying, send me your goals. So it may be that you try some other methods, and you might say, hey, I want to chat on the phone with you in the next 2 days. When's a good time? And they tell you. And then on the phone conversation, you say, okay, what would you like to see happen in your Plexus business this month? Do you want to go silver? And you may feed them a little bit, but essentially you're finding out their goals. You're just not giving them a homework assignment. So you can experiment with that a little bit. And I've had different months where I've sent out an email to my business builders and I've said, hey, tell me 3 things you want to see happen in your Plexus business this month. And just changing the wording up so that they don't hear, send me your goals, can help sometimes. So yeah, that's about what I'll say about that. I mean, you really can't, if people like really aren't going to, then you can't make them.
Right.
But you can make it feel less like homework. And it's a personality thing. Like Jessica Heffley and I are Reds. And when she told me, send me your goals and you can win a Fitbit, I was like, dude, okay. But for a blue personality, like they don't want homework. They just want to have fun. So, you say, hey, let's talk this week. And then you ask them like, what do you want to happen this month in your business? You're finding out their goals, but you're just not doing it in a list format.
So can we be added to that 20-day challenge without going through the steps of watching the video? So we just contact the person who's hosting and say, hey, can you add me?
Yeah. I always want a sponsor on there. Cause like Megan's leading it this month. And I know she probably feels like she has to respond to every person. And that is completely unsustainable for the challenge leader. And they need to be hearing from their sponsor anyway. So yeah. If you've already completed the challenge, or even if you haven't completed the challenge, but you've got a level 1 doing the challenge, you need to be in the group so that you can check it each night. And I mean, yeah, especially in the beginning when they're sending their why and they're putting their goals down and stuff. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I don't know how much time we have left, but I was wondering, like, of those 6 weeks of intentional, like 30 minutes of coaching each week, do you have like a outline of like kind of like the 20-day challenge? Do you have like things that you hit each week, or do you really just kind of base it off their goals, or like how do you organize that time so it is intentional?
You use that GROW acronym. There's not a 6-week outline for a different topic each week because it is going to be really driven by their own goals. But you use that GROW acronym where you're first of all talking about their goals. Again, not in whatever language that freaks them out. If you just want to be like, what do you want out of Plexus? That's where you're talking about their goals. And then the the R part is where you progress to talking about, okay, what's the reality of your situation? What is holding you back? What obstacles do you face throughout the week? What works well for you? What are your strengths? Like, what can we build on? That's the R. And then after you discuss kind of the reality of their situation, you don't get bogged down there because you can tend to get bogged down with it's so hard, blah, blah, blah. You move on to the O, which is, okay, let's talk about your options. What can you see as something you might be able to try this week that will work? What if something worked well, can you do it again this week? Can you do it again this month? Okay, if this has been a bad month, what's something you can tweak? So talking about the options. And then W is way forward. So saying like, okay, what's something you can do in the next 24 hours to get this going? How are you going to know you're succeeding? What are the milestones along the way? How do you want me to support you? Do you want me to follow up with you every few days and say, hey, have you reached out to 3 people today? I know you wanted to. Or do you just want me to check in once a week? And, so asking maybe a question like that. We've got about 2 minutes left, by the way. That's the only real structure there, I would say, is that GROW, GROW acronym. And then after you've kind of completed that time, you can say, hey, do we want to keep doing this? Or do we want to maybe take it just to email and kind of have it more ongoing accountability? Also want to give a plug too for group coaching, which is, those book studies and even just doing a Zoom call. If you've got 4 people on your team who really are go-getters and want the business, you can even do group coaching. You can do a call once a week with all of them if that's going to work better in your life. So we're down to a minute. Anyone have a quick one?
I do. Did you have a specific book that they recommended during Jewel Training or that you've read that has helped you to learn the language of being a coach? Because hearing you talk about it, it all makes perfect sense. But actually having it come out of me is a whole different ballgame.
Well, we were blessed to have just a really talented presenter saying, here's some of the language. But I felt like the most helpful thing was she gave us like 2 pages worth of sample questions, which I gave some of them in that thread, but I would be happy to screenshot them and just post them for you guys The only other language she gave us was like, help me understand, tell me more, and if I could see something holding you back, would you want to know? Those were kind of the other big buzzwords. And then just really encouraging us to ask, not train, but ask, so that you're helping them become a problem solver. But book-wise, 21 Laws of Leadership is a big one. Really just studying leadership so that you can learn how to